Hey y'all, it's Brody, and today, I don't know what to call this. Went through my closet where I keep all of the books that have been featured in like unhaul videos or books I've decided I don't want anymore. Books I have like strict plans on getting rid of. And since I can't go to the bookstore right now, I've been wanting to get books. That's my thing. That's how I cope. I want to buy shit. I want to buy shit and make myself feel better. But we can't do that right now. Into my unhaul closet, like looking for one book in particular. I was looking for World War Z by Max Brooks, and there is a reason for this. Last night, I had a dream that I was at a prom, and it was the booktube prom, and it's because all of these booktubers are posting their throwback, like, this is me at prom versus this is me now. So that's where that came from. I was at prom with Allie with Books, whose channel I will link down below, since kind of the inspiration for this, I guess. I don't know. Love her content. Go check it out. And a zombie apocalypse happened, and Allie and I killed a bunch of zombies, and it was badass. And, yeah. So I think that's reflective of the current state of the world, plus what I was seeing on Twitter last night while I was scrolling before I fell asleep. So, anyway, long story short, I want to reread World War Z. Looking through the books that are in the closet, there's a lot of them. And I was like, you know what? Since I can't go buy new books, let's pull some of these out. Some of them I want to reread. Some of these I thought that I had already, like, given away, but they were still here. Some of them I have just decided over time that, like, I do want to keep, and they do make me happy, and, you know, this and that. So a lot of these books you'll have seen featured in unhauls. I apologize, I guess, but these are the books that I'm resurrecting from the dead, like a zombie apocalypse, and giving a second hand to. The first one is Grasshopper Jungle by Andrew Smith. This is about an apocalypse that happens with like giant mutant grasshoppers. There's a bisexual main character, a poly relationship. I talked about it in the collab that I did with Adriana and Kathy last year at BookNet Fest, which I will leave linked down below. I think everyone got a little uncomfortable with me talking about giant mutant grasshoppers having sex with corpses, but like, you know, this is coming back. I want to reread it. I want to reread apocalypse books. And I also know that there's a sequel, so if I reread this and I find it to be more of my taste now, then, you know, maybe I'll pick up the sequel. Also, them edges, though. Okay, so continuing the trend of, like, dystopian and apocalypse books, I have TheThree by Sarah Lotz. This is an adult thriller. Actually, there were 4 plane crashes that all happened at the same time. There are 3 child survivors, one for each plane crash, and then the other survivor is a religious fanatic who insists that these 3 kids are going to bring about the apocalypse. That's all I know about it. I picked this up at a Goodwill for like $1, and then I decided I didn't want to read it, and now I've decided I want to again, because, you know, I read apocalypse books. I have a whole video about books I'm reading right now to cope with the state of the world that I will leave linked somewhere, or just go check the description in case I forget. I have The Testing by Joelle Charbonneau. I know this is a young adult dystopian, like in the vein of like the Hunger Games, I think. It's like a war-torn world, and different people from different areas are chosen to take a test, and that's all I know. There's something about alliances. I think this came out like in like the Hunger Games knockoff era. But funny enough is that I used to always forget that I owned this book, and I would see it at Barnes & Noble in the paperback and be like, ooh, let's pick that up. And then I was like, wait, I have that at home. And then I decided to unhaul it. So we're going to give it a shot. And next, we have an entire series, which I have no fucking idea why I decided to unhaul. And that is the Chemical Garden trilogy by Laura De Stefano. So you have Wither, Fever, and Sever. And these books are about girls who end up in like an arranged marriage with this like royal dude, and there's like a disease, and they're compared to flowers a lot, and I don't really remember a lot of this. It's kind of like the trashy selection type young adult, but A, I really want to reread the series. B, these covers are ahead of their time. These covers are fucking beautiful. And B, you know, I gave all of these books like 4 or 5 stars. I don't know why I unhauled it. I think it was because I said, like, oh, I'm never going to reread it. And look at me now. Sort of in the same vein, I have, like, horror books. So those are, like, my dystopian-y end of the world books. And now we have, like, some horror, ghosty, witchy things. First, I have Marley's Ghost by David Levithan. See, here's the thing. David Levithan used to be my all-time favorite author, and I had like a dream of collecting all of his books. That was like teenage Brody's dream library. I was like, I just want to collect all of David Levithan's books. Found this at a thrift store for $1.50. Didn't particularly care for it when I read it, but I decided I want to give it another try. I was going through something very similar where a family member had cancer, and that's what this book is about. And I didn't want to read cancer books, but I didn't know. I just knew it was like a Christmas Carol retelling. So I'm gonna try and give this another try and see. It's really short too. It's like teeny tiny, and it's so pretty. Next, we have Wicked and Son of a Witch. This is a bind-up of the two. It's the Barnes & Noble exclusive collection that I got for Christmas from my friend like several years ago. I was still in high school when I got this. I read Wicked. I loved it, but never wanted to get around to Son of a Witch, and it was just sitting on my shelf forever, and I was like, I'm never going to read it. But like, now's the perfect time. This is like the Wicked Witch of the West retelling. That's what Gregory Maguire does. It's all like fairy tale and classic retellings. Then we have A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. This is in the exact same vein as Marley's Ghost. It's a graphic novel about a boy whose mother has cancer, and whenever I read this for the Booktubeathon, back when it was the Booktubeathon, my mother had cancer, and I didn't know this was about cancer. And then I read it the day that she got diagnosed, not knowing what it was, and it completely threw me. And I want to give it another shot now that I'm in a better headspace and I know what it's about, and I can like prepare myself going into it. This is one that I'm not going to say anything about. I'm just going to put it up here. I have Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. I want to give it another shot. That's all I'm going to say about that. We're not discussing that in my comment section. That's not happening. I'm going to try and give this another shot. Two books by the same author. We have Survive the Night and The Merciless by Daniel Vega. I love Daniel Vega. I don't know why I decided to unhaul these. Well, this one I was like, it's not what I want to read. But this one, The Merciless, is the first book in a 4-part series, and I wanted to read the whole series, and I wanted to get them all in hardback because they're so pretty as like these dust jacketless hardbacks, and I could never find them in hardback. So I was like, I'll just unhaul that and get the whole series in paperback. But now I want to get the whole series in hardback again. So I know, I'm a hot mess, but I want to reread this like Mean Girls Exorcist thing, and then this one is also just really cool, and I do want to reread it. So we're just going to burn through these right quick. We have Ken's by Raziel Reed, which is a Heather's retelling. We have More Happy Than Not by Adam Silvera. We have Symptoms of Being Human by Jeff Garvin. I have a story for this one, but I'll get into it after I talk about the rest of these. I have I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. I have The 5 Stages of Andrew Brawley by Sean David Hutchison. And I have Another Day by David Levithan. These two have stories, sorry. Another Day by David Levithan, Every Day by David Levithan was my favorite book of all time from like teenagers up until I read Wilder Girls last year. Wilder Girls knocked Every Day down. I read the sequel to Every Day, and I didn't particularly care for it. I thought it was pretty unnecessary because it's not even a sequel. It's like, this is the love interest perspective to the protagonist of Every Day, and I was like, oh, I don't care. I didn't want to read the rest of them. I thought the first book ended perfectly, but I've decided I want to read the third book, give it a shot. So I'm just going to reread book 1 and book 2, and then try and get a hold of the third book, and we'll see how it goes. Symptoms of Being Human by Jeff Garvin. I read this book before I came to terms with being non-binary, and the main character of this book, Riley, is, I believe, gender fluid. I've never found a specific label, but anyway, the main character is genderqueer, and I was in such a state of like, I don't want to think about my own gender identity that I rated this book very badly. I was like, this was a terrible book. I hated this book. I hated the main character. And I regret that a lot. So I want to reread this book and see if I can change my rating, see if it was just a me going through it and reading it at the wrong time thing, or if it was, me actually just not liking this book. Also in queer books, I have Ruby Fruit Jungle by Rita Mae Brown. This is a classic. I don't really know what it's about. I think it's about a lesbian girl being adopted by like a poor couple. This is a queer classic, and the fact that I unhauled it, I have felt bad since I did it. So we're going to try and give it another shot, because, why not? I have the time now. have this collection of Edgar Allan Poe mysteries. I unhauled it because I was like, oh, I don't really care that much about Poe anymore because Edgar Allan Poe used to be my favorite author. I aspired to be like Poe when I was in high school and like in my time of writing, where I wrote poetry and had stuff published and stuff. I wanted to be like the next Edgar Allan Poe, and that changed, but my love for his work didn't. I don't know why I decided to unhaul this. I think I just wanted a prettier edition, but like I don't care anymore. I'm just gonna bring this one back and read it and finish up the stories. I would like to do a thing where I read like 2 Edgar Allan Poe stories a month. I think that would be nice. This is an old edition. It has like that good old book smell. Next, I'm going to try and do it. I'm just basically waiting for Florida to go into full shutdown and for us to get like completely locked down. So I'm going to try and read A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. I don't know why. I don't have much interest in high fantasy, but this book is a pop culture phenomenon, and I kind of just want to see what the deal is with it. I've heard it's confusing, and I've heard it's convoluted, and I've heard you can't get attached to any of the characters, but, like, I'm gonna give it a shot. You know, my friend and coworker loves this book, has reread the series, I think, like, 3 times, and she bought it for me, and then I unhauled it, and I felt bad, and now, like, I want to give it another shot. So, that's what this is doing here. Next we have White Cat by Holly Black. I want to reread this one because I have always intended to read the entire White Cat series and never did. So I want to do that again. I want to reread the first book because this one has one of the most interesting magic systems I've ever read. I want to reread the first book, see if I can finish the series. I think it's a trilogy because everything that was being published then was a trilogy. But, yeah, no, we'll see. Then I have A Mango-Shaped Space by Wendy Moss. This is a middle grade book about a character with synesthesia. I have synesthesia. I hear sounds but see colors. So like every sound, every person's voice, every like car that goes by, it has a different color and shape and texture and movement. And it's really weird. I've never really talked about it in a video, but there are a bunch of different kinds of synesthesia. I don't know if this one is my particular kind. I don't know, because there are different kinds. Some people with synesthesia, you can like see the calendar around you and like you know where the date is based on the location. Some people can like, they hear a word and then they taste something. Rhett and Link did a really interesting video on it. I'll leave it linked down below where they go into different kinds of synesthesia. So if you want to know more about it, check that out. I have volume 1 of the Archie Comics. I don't know why I decided to unhaul this. I wanted to read all of the Archie Comics and then I decided I didn't. And now that I'm, like, stuck in the house, I'm like, it would be nice to read all of the Archie comics. Why are we making noises? Why? Cool. So, yeah. The people above me are on their treadmill again. Okay, next we have The Beauty That Remains by Ashley Woodfolk. I know this is about a band and a dead person, like a dead friend / lover, and grief. I think the band breaks up. I intended to read this in like 2019. When did this come out? I bought it on release day and I was so excited for it, and I just never got around to it. So like, we're gonna give this one another shot. I read the first chapter. I didn't particularly care for it, but we're gonna give it another shot. I really think this one has promise for me, and we're gonna try. Next we have Every Exquisite Thing by Matthew Quick. This was another one of my favorite books of all time. Matthew Quick was one of my favorite authors. And like, I don't know why I decided to unhaul this, because I really enjoyed it. I made everyone that I know read it. It's about a girl named Nanette who, like, her teacher gives her a copy of this book, and then she becomes obsessed with the book and wants to meet the author. I know it has a lot of mental health stuff in it that was kind of triggering for me, but now that I have a better hold on that, we're going to reread it and see. Also, the undercover, the turtle cover, I don't know what these are called. The Underneath the Dust Jacket is the book that her teacher gives her. So you have the dust jacket for Every Exquisite Thing, but then this is the book that's in the book that the book is about. So that's cute. Everybody Sees the Ants by A.S. King. I am bringing this one back purely because of Kayla from Books and Lala. A.S. King is like her favorite author, and I watched the video that she did. I watched all of Kayla's videos because queen status, that's queen shit. Especially loved her guide to A.S. King's books, and I want to read more A.S. King. I want to read Still Life of a Tornado and Dig and all of them. So we're gonna reread this. This is one of the first books I ever bought from Thrift Books. It still has the, can you see the Thrift Books label? That's cute. Finally, and sorry this is long, we have To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. If you don't know what this is about, where have you been? To All the Boys I've Loved Before is about a girl. Let's get your clothes back on, girl. To All the Boys I've Loved Before is about a girl named Laura Jean who writes love letters to these boys and doesn't send them, but then one day they get sent. You've probably seen the Netflix movie if you haven't read the book. I never read the full series, but this is one that I specifically remember annotating, and I remember hating Laura Jean, and I remember calling Laura Jean a bitch. If you read any of these books, let me know what you thought about them down in the comments. Just either keep your comment spoiler-free or tag your spoilers so that no one gets, spoiled and they don't get mad at me and yell at me. Comment question of the day. Let me know a book that you have brought back for a second chance, and if you believe in second chances. Personally, I feel like some of these books I'm doing them like a third or fourth chance, but we'll never know until we just do it. So yeah, let me know a book that you had read and didn't like and then reread and loved, or a book that you got rid of that you regret getting rid of, like the one that got away. Let's just have a chat down in the comments. And of course, if you don't have time to do any of that, just leave me a heart, preferably a yellow one, so I know that you were here and you stayed until the end. It means a lot to me to know that people watch my videos and I get validation from people's comments. So, alright, I hope you have a wonderful, whatever it is, wherever you are. I will see you next time for another video. Okay, cool, bye.